Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another AITA story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for kicking my brother and his family out after his son stole my engagement ring? The reason I, 26 male, know is because I literally caught him in my room going through my things, and it's on a frickin' camera. My nephew is 9 and has a habit of stealing things. They've gotten in trouble a few times at stores because he'd leave with something in his pockets. Kid's 9 and already a klepto? Whoa. But of course, because he's a kid, they usually just say he forgot he had it. Even at school, my brother has told me they have had to come talk to the principal on a couple of occasions. Doesn't seem like they've done anything to stop it. They had to come stay here with me because my brother lost his job and they weren't going to make it with all their bills, including rent. He's doing Uber right now while he searches for a job and they can move out. I didn't want to because of my nephew specifically, but family is family, I guess. A month ago, I finally bought an engagement ring for my girlfriend that I was planning on proposing to soon, but now I don't know. It's a $4,000 ring that I spent over a year saving up for. It's been hidden in my room under one of my drawers. One time when I found him snooping in my room, I told my brother to control his kid, then got one of those cheap spy cams in my room just in case. Then last week, I noticed it was out of its box. After checking the cam, it showed he was in there again when I wasn't home. My brother and his wife yelled at him. He says he left it by the TV in the guest room, but it's not there. They looked through all of their stuff and his too. I know for a fact he's lying about not having it because that's the same thing he said about one of my watches he took, then ended up finding it. By the second day, my brother tells me they can't find it at all. And I told him either they find the ring or he repays me the $4,000 I spent on it. If not, they can't stay here anymore. My brother got really upset. He told me I know how their situation is right now. And yeah, it's a tough spot, but I couldn't ignore the fact that his kid, who he can't parent, took something extremely important to me that cost a lot of time and money. They were given a week to leave my house if they didn't find the ring. They're having to stay at a cheap motel, but my brother won't stop begging me to come back because what they're paying right now each night is coming directly out of their savings. He won't stop calling me heartless about letting something like this come between helping them out through a difficult time, and my nephew keeps saying he's sorry. It's just hard now to want them around. Don't even know what to do about the ring, and every time I think about it, it just makes me so mad that it's hard to care about their situation. Does that make me an asshole? I mean, what would you do? What would you do in this situation? Because it's a 9-year-old kid. And if he's done this before, he's obviously got a habit. He's got a streak. And yeah, it all falls to the parents. Ultimately, if your kid steals something who's a minor, it's coming back to you. If your kid destroys something, you're going to be liable for it. So what do you do in this instance? If they were getting kicked out and the kid knew where it was, you would think that the kid would be like, oh, it's here. But he just let it happen. He let them get kicked out to a motel. And I understand where OP is coming from here because it's sus. Like the kid's behavior pattern lends to him being the prime suspect. And there's video footage of him being in the room when he shouldn't have been. They know he was touching the ring. So either he misplaced it somewhere or he took it and it just doesn't want to fess up about where it is. Either way, it's because he was messing with it that it is now gone. And it is a big enough deal that OP said either come up with the ring or you guys have to get out. And I get it because what's next? Kid went straight for the throat by coming for this tiny, most expensive thing he could find. What's next? What's the next thing he's going to take? If you can't trust the kid there, then you can't have the kid there. And it does come back to the parents. And I feel bad for the parents. I feel really bad for them. They're having a hard time right now. But that doesn't mean that it's OP's fault. That doesn't mean that OP has to be punished for it. Doesn't mean that OP has to get all of his shit stolen for it and just be like, well, he's a kid, I guess, and you guys are going through hard times, so I guess I'm going to lose everything. And that's family. The initial question here is, am I the asshole for kicking my brother and his family out after his son stole my engagement ring? Personally, I'm sitting on NTA here. And there may be a lot of people who disagree with me here because, the parents are going through a hard time and they do need a place to stay, but they also have to parent their kids. And if their kid is stealing shit, and if this wasn't a surprise to anybody, then they have to get that under control. It's not an excuse for them to not parent their kid. It's not an excuse for the kid to be able to steal shit and that be okay. It is not an excuse for OP to just take it in the shorts every time that something bad happens in their life. He shouldn't get punished for this as well. He was already doing something for them and he received additional pain for it. And that's when he said, no mas. I get it. It is harsh, but I get it because the alternative path is he lets them stay and this kind of shit just keeps happening, which is unacceptable. It's not like you can just kick the 9-year-old out, call the cops on the 9-year-old. The kid needs consequences. I mean, them getting kicked out to a motel, is that them getting consequences? They may not have control over this. However, does that mean that OP has to deal with it? Does that mean that he just has to get his shit stolen and then that's okay because they can't control it? I don't think so. I don't think that means that they have to take it. It is tough as a parent to accept, but you are responsible for the shitty actions of your kids. Because it's your job to be. And they're going to have to get this under control. Otherwise, no one's ever going to let them stay with him. No one, ever. He shouldn't have been messing with it in the first place. Seems like he's got a little bit of a klepto problem going on. It is a habit. And OP says here it doesn't sound like they've done anything to try to correct this or fix it. So, yeah, it's a problem. Hopefully, he recovered his ring. And here's the update. So many of you have asked nonstop for an update. Sorry it took me a while to log back on, but lots of stuff has been going on. Yes, I found the ring. It was a stressful day doing a deeper search in my house, trying to think like my nephew and looking in places where I think he'd hide something if he really didn't want it to be found. And the decision was if it really wasn't found and my brother wasn't able to get him to talk, or they wouldn't be able to pay back what I'm owed, then the police would get involved. He did beg me not to, but I told him, then you better pray I find it or you come up with the money to pay me for it. Guess both of our prayers worked because guess where I found it? In the freaking sink. The sink! And that's thanks to the comments who told me to look in those places. I don't know what I would have done otherwise. It was the sink that was in their guest room. I'm glad he didn't just throw it away. You guys don't know how freaking relieved I was to find it. Took some work to remove the P-trap under the sink to get it out, but I was just so happy to find it. Same night, my girlfriend, fiance, wink, got back. I proposed to her and she said yes. After a nice romantic dinner, just the two of us at home, the plan was to wait, but right after all this shit, I thought, F it, I'm proposing ASAP before anything else happens. Laughing, crying emojis. After my brother heard about me finding the ring, he thought this meant they could come back. I said no. He wanted to argue about this again. I told him he was lucky I haven't gone to the cops since there was already video evidence of his son taking the ring, and there's no way I'm letting them back in when my nephew wouldn't even say what he did to the ring. I talked with my nephew myself after I found the ring, but he just said he didn't want to tell anyone because then I'd be mad at him for hiding it. Honestly, I just don't have the energy for them anymore. His problem is their problem, and hopefully they get him help before it's too late. Only thing important to me is my fiance and I starting our lives and planning our wedding. Thank you, Reddit, for your help. Seriously, you guys were my lifesavers. Edited to add, I just received this news after already submitting my post for approval and just wanted to add because I'm so happy, but girlfriend also informed me she's pregnant. She found out while she was on her road trip and was waiting for a good time to tell me. Not related to the post, but I don't care. I'm gonna be a dad. Congrats to OP. Double congrats. Found the ring. Is gonna be a proud papa. She said yes. All good things here. So with this new update here, brother was like, oh, you found it. We can come back, right? In this update, the kid never fesses up until he's already found the ring and he's like, I found it. And then the kid was like, oh, I just didn't want to make you mad about me hiding it. Okay, that's better. I mean, he's 9, but what kind of shit does a 9-year-old have to go through to get to this point? And again, NTA for not letting them come back because he would have to be willing to go through this again and again and again and again because the parents haven't done anything about it. Get it under control, then you give yourself more options. Woof.